just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 314 days until Christmas 2023. And I was encouraged yesterday to remind you all at the very beginning of the stream, we have a Patreon membership that you could join for as little as $1 a month. And on that membership, there's an ability to basically super chat for just that $1. And you can put as many questions or topics in there, and as long as they're appropriate, we'll talk about them here on a live stream. So I see the socials thing is all jacked up here. I'm gonna do it again. Typically, if I do it the second time, it fixes it. So while that's doing its thing, I've got my bestest buddies, Jason Ward and Megan. Good to see you guys.
Santa's Patreon got me back on the basketball team.
Right.
Santa, I learnt your intro and I was playing it while it was playing.
Is it B flat, D, G, and like F or something? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in C sharp tuning, so it was like
Weirdo.
Amazing.
I was doing that too. I was like, whatever. But yeah.
well, thank you so much for having us on, Santa.
Oh my goodness, what an exciting day for you, Megan. Your interview with Paul is wonderful. We'll talk about it here in just a little bit. But if you guys are not members of Megan's Patreon, you should be, especially today. There's a wonderful interview that's worth every minute of your time. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we'll talk about it more.
Who was it? What is it, Santa? Because you kind of buried the lead there, and she was like, "It's great to be here," and he's like, "It's lucky for you, Meg, that you're here with me."
No. Santa. It's lucky for
best guy in the world.
It's lucky for all the fans who are members of Meg's Patreon.
Meg's interview
amazing.
is rad. I listened to it before the show. I'm here to spoil it all and tell you exactly what happens in all of it. Okay, no, we're not going to do that. You have to listen to it yourself.
We'll get to that here briefly, and there's a ton of things to talk about today. Oh my goodness, there's Meg Simp alert. No kidding, Jedi Mike. I've been a Meg Simp for a while. I've been simping for her for a long time. But we have a ton of news. I think let's start off with the easy one. The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch, we have an episode tonight called The Crossing. And Meg, I think you nailed it with this. I think it's a two-parter. We have The Crossing and then Retrieval. It makes sense that they would go together. But the question is, who's crossing and who's going to have to get retrieved?
You know what's going to happen, Santa? It'll be Omega and the Batch, apart from Echo. And have you ever heard of the 100-Acre Wood?
Yes.
From Winnie the Pooh. And
Absolutely.
you know they play that game Pooh Sticks where they throw the stick in and it floats down river. Omega's going to learn to cross that river safely and carefully and not fall in. And if she does, Eeyore will be there to pick her out with his nail up his ass.
I love it. Yeah, I think that so that was really, we were kind of talking about it yesterday during our members only meeting, and I went through all the answers with the folks that were there on the call. And there's two ways that it goes. One is it's a batch episode. The other is it's not a batch episode. Right? So are we going to go with Echo and Rex? Are we following that, or are we following the batch? My personal just guess, I have no idea, but where I put all of my answers in was that it's going to go back to a batch episode, and we're going to see them just go on a mission from Sid and so on and so forth. That's my gut. What do you guys think?
I think it's a mission of the week. I think it's mission of the week, absolutely. But it's mission of the week that probably has a meaning to it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jason?
I think they get tattoos of like crosses right here on their arm. They're like, yeah, man, we're cool. I have no idea.
The crossing.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect from it. I wish they would do those little like 2-minute like little trailers or like 30-second trailers that they used to do for the cartoons back in the day. It would help me with my anticipation a little bit more, because right now I don't know what to be excited about or not. I mean, I'm gonna watch it tonight, but I have no idea what to expect from it, because I don't have like any like all of the stuff that I could think of that it could be. Like somebody mentioned Wolf, and I'm like, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if this is the one where we see him, but I have no idea. I'm worthless
Mentioning
on this
Wolf
one.
reminds me of something I really want to tell you guys at the end of this stream.
Okay.
I can't say it publicly.
Okay. Mega's eating wolf. Actual
Well, the stream's over. See you guys. No, just kidding. Just kidding. There's a couple other things, and Jason, I saw you showed this yesterday, but you showed this one. So,
Yeah.
The Bad Batch, number 3 in streaming originals, behind Hulu's How I Met Your Mother, or Your Father. That's, I can read. How I Met Your Father. On Hulu,
Whoa.
Criminal Minds Evolution.
Now I'm here. Yeah, I got that.
Oh,
Jason,
oh,
he's singing
I know why.
that
I know
Collins song.
Yeah, I was doing the Queen song. I was all, now I'm here.
Hey, I know
Now
why.
I'm there.
When I share, I got the audio because there's a thing later I want to do. So when I share, I got to get it back off so that you guys don't echo, because they're hearing the echo too. I just don't hear it. I'm the only one that doesn't get to hear the echo.
So-
Is there an echo in here?
So it's
no,
really
he's left.
it's really good for Bad Batch, right? I mean, that looks really good. The question I have is the number that high because it's 2 episodes put together. So does it sort of get like a double up in numbers, or because it's like there was 2 episodes, and if it was 1 episode counted, you would think there would be 2 episodes on there, right? Like episode this and this one would be.
Well,
the
this
2
is from
spots, maybe?
February. Yeah. This is the double episode. Let me again share it. We have to deal with the echo for a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
But here it says it's the number 1. They have here most popular show online, and I don't know what the number 15 means because it's got like this different things, but it's the number 1 most popular Disney Plus TV show. That's it. Disney
Now
Plus
I'm there.
Disney Plus, number 3 overall. So there's a point to be made here, and it's about not everybody is loving the Bad Batch, right? Not everybody's loving it, and that's okay.
Sure.
But there are a lot of people who are loving it, and if the Bad Batch is not your jam, then don't take the fun out of it for everybody who is having fun with it.
Hey, I feel attacked right now. No, I'm
I
kidding.
thought Santa was going to say, if it's not your jam, try marmalade.
Yeah.
Let me. I'm gonna do something else. Hold on a
If
second.
it's not your jam, try Vegemite and go back to Australia. And I'm like, whoa, man, calm down. Last week's 2-parter was good though. Last part, I did enjoy last week's a lot.
There,
It
I
was
got a
awesome.
solution.
It was so much
No,
fun.
yeah, the double episode from last week, really good. But you know what we tend to think, and it's a little bit from Meg's interview with Paul, but we tend to think everybody needs to watch the Star Wars the way that we watch the Star Wars. You need to like the things that I like because the things I like, that validates who I am, that validates what I think. And if you like the Star Wars I don't like, then somehow that invalidates me, or that creates stuff that I don't like. But it's more of, if somebody's loving something, let them love it. Don't take the joy out of it for them. And we tend to want to gather around people who think like us, agree with us, and validate our thoughts. And the Bad Batch is an example. Not everybody's loving it. Some people are like, nah.
That is true, Devil's Advocate. Every time Jason and I shit on the Bad Batch, the next episode is like the best one. So, Jason, are you ready? Let's moan about Omega again.
Oh, come on. These little kids, they're always just being bad batch. Okay, there we go.
What is her story arc anyway? She's doing nothing.
No. Actually, I was proven completely right, because they literally went and said, we need to answer this. And they did answer it then.
That is so true. I mentioned you in my video today, Jason. You literally said this time last week, the Bad Batch story is the clone story through Omega, and that's literally what episode 8 was about.
Take that, Santa Claus.
What did I tell you guys last week? Calm down. Be patient. Let the story evolve. Like, quit being so, McDonald's fast food on this thing. Let it come to you.
No,
Enjoy the episodes.
They did do it, but I don't think that the story organization is actually very clean. I think it's open to criticism that 6 episodes in, you answer what your protagonist wants, needs, and what their problem is. It's a little bit late. It's a little late in the little bit of a late bloomer for the story. Mid season to know what your protagonist is on about.
Well, maybe for you Gen Yers. I mean,
well, no, hey, I'm a cusper, man. But it was. But I mean, like, we got the actual answer in the finale of the last season. I think it should have been reiterated earlier on and then reaffirmed then. I do think that was like a structural issue with that I will criticize it forever for. But the fact that they did get to it, that we do know where she's coming from now, that means a lot to me. It makes a difference to me. So it actually does.
KG sent the emoji of the fries. This is neither here nor there, but do you guys want to hear something that tells me I'm getting old? But I'm not. But
no, you're 25.
What's up, Grandma?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us a story, Grandma.
Well, when I was younger, you'd go to McDonald's or somewhere, and people would be like, "Oh, can I have a large chips?" Because we call them chips.
You weirdos! Come on.
But now I hear youngsters say, "Could I have a large fries?" I'm like, "You're not British."
Yeah, U.S. imperialism. We're coming for you guys now. Take that.
Meg, are you gatekeeping McDonald's customers?
I'm gatekeeping McDonald's. You know when Boba's like, I'm the criminal underlord now, whatever. I'm the mega Karen now.
Mega. Well, I know you already in Lego Star Wars, you will not be having anybody having ice cream. That's just, you're not having it. And so now it's like French fries at McDonald's. If you're British, it's chips. Otherwise, get out.
Yesterday on my show, Meg was on with us, and Rob was sharing the story that Steven Spielberg had an ice cream person on set for Hook or something, and whenever he wanted an ice cream cone, they had to bring him one. and I just thought of Meg going up there slapping it right out of his hand.
Hey,
the conversation with Rob was all about, because I was drinking a Diet Coke Zero is what they call it. I was drinking a Coke Zero and I had ice in it and a lemon wedge. And I was saying how when you get to that last little bit, the ice cubes and the lemons just decided to twat my face and just came up full force. And I felt very violated. I've never had something slap my face that hard.
It didn't have your consent. See, that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sheev the Wise. Sheev posted on our Patreon or our Discord today. He went on a little rant on his last live stream that is brilliant. It's perfect. I love Sheev's rant about Pedro Pascal. Perfect. You guys
say at the end. And now that's even Sheevens.
Well,
I saw that. He posted it to the Discord. I saw that this morning.
He gets so worked up.
Brilliant.
He's like,
I love Sheev.
pounding the desk like, Sheev. It is so good.
What
So good.
what was the thesis of the Sheev rant? I'm lost. I didn't see it yet.
That Pedro
Because he did a
is
video about who should be Mandalore, isn't it?
well, but in the talk, it's like, is Pedro angry with Lucasfilm? Is he done with being Mandalorian? Does he?
Why? He doesn't have to show up.
All that nonsense, and Sheev's not having it. He's not having it.
Well, did you guys
really
see that
good.
interview with Empire Magazine when Pedro's like, I can't see anything? It's like, because you're not the main guy in the suit most of the time.
Yeah, you can't see it because you're never in it, man.
Speaking of Mandalorian, Empire Magazine, there's a ton of articles, and I think, do you have an echo? Let me know. I think you should not have
No. Now I'm here. Now I'm there. No, I'm not Queen
No echo.
anymore. I'm just me.
solved.
I was Freddie
Solved.
Mercury earlier, and that's cool.
So this
Grogu's got
picture's,
crabs.
Grogu's got
This-
crabs.
this picture's been going around, and it's in our thumbnail today. Knowing that what's going on here, these crabs are running for their lives. I mean, sure, it's cute, right? Oh, look how cute little Grogu is. No, he's the terrorist. They're running for their lives because if he catches them, you know what he's doing.
He's eating them. They're little
He's-
mushroom crabs. I think he's gonna
He's
trip
go-
out, come through a window.
He's gulping those guys down by the handful. So, yeah, they're running for their lives. This is an escape scene. They're like, run! He's gonna eat us. This is like in Ghostbusters, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right? You try to think of the most innocent, like least harmful thing in the world, and then so here you got the real cute little Grogu. Oh, isn't he cute? Oh, isn't that great? And these crabs are like, get out.
Do you guys remember around Mandalorian season 2, the amount of outrage over Grogu eating frog eggs? There was like
Yes.
whole Twitter debates. It was so silly.
Yes.
I imagine next season it'll be like, guys, we need to really not. Grogu clearly has an eating disorder, and we shouldn't encourage it. It's like, calm down, everybody. They're fake eggs. It's okay.
Right. Well, these crabs are. Look, he's even got one in his hand. See right here. This guy's a goner.
Do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is an environment that we're gonna see, or do you think this is just like blue sky concept that was cute?
I
It's
think
concept
this
art.
is something we're going to see. I think this will be like an interpretation of what we'll see, because if you look at the concept art for the ice spiders in chapter 10, it's vastly different to how it looks in live action, like fully edited and everything. So this is like the concept of something we'll see. The landscape might be different. It might be different scenery. I mean, Grogu's as green as a booger in this picture. So
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's disgusting.
Well, and I just know, like he's going to be eating these things. That's Grogu for you, and that they're running. I don't think they're going toward him. That's the other part.
are you
they
a fan
running
of crab, Santa? Do you eat crab?
crab legs? I do like crab legs.
What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'm a fan. Whenever I go out for sushi, every now and then I'll have soft shell crab, which is sort of creepy
Oh,
to
it's
eat,
the best.
but it's good. Yeah.
So
Have you ever had
are-
the deep fried soft shell crab sushi, like the maki rolls that
Mhm.
have like a bit of spicy tuna and crab? Out of this world.
It's really good,
Sorry,
Santa.
Santa.
It's really good, Santa.
I don't do sushi. That ain't my jam.
If you're ever on
do
the do it on the coast. When you're on the coast, do it. When you're not on the coast, don't do it. That's what I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are the crab running toward him like the ice spiders? Right, they were running towards him. They were going to attack him. Are they running away? What do you think?
They're running away. They're like, that kid's a maniac.
That's what I think, because he's already caught one here,
Yeah.
right?
But
you don't see the eyes.
they remind me of those like crab walker things from Attack of the Clones. Like I almost feel like Grogu is Godzilla in Attack of the Clones when I look at the image for whatever reason.
Yeah, you see Mando back here behind him. Stop eating the crabs. No, get back to Meg's. Stop eating the eggs. Stop it. So
It's always amazing to me when people aren't into seafood, just because I grew up with it.
Mhm.
It's so
Oh.
common, like both in Iceland and in England, like we eat it a lot. And
Yeah.
I eat it still 5 times a week.
No, my wife's not having. She will eat like no seafood, none.
None.
No, it's not for her.
Grogu
So,
would.
Whenever
Grogu
I
would.
go out without her, or get a meal by myself, I'll go get seafood. But when we're eating together, if I order seafood and it comes on the table, it can sometimes ruin her dinner. So I try not to do that, for the most part.
That's
Santa, do you
fair.
like Italian food?
I love Italian food, Mexican food, Chinese food, all of it. Yeah. Oh, Empire Magazine. So Empire Magazine's got a big issue coming out tomorrow, and we've been getting little.
I think it's Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Thursday, not tomorrow. Thursday. For a minute, I thought today was Wednesday. No, Thursday. Thursday. Empire Magazine's got a big issue releasing online Thursday. You can get a copy of it for just $1. It's behind a paywall kind of thing. But we have been getting little snippets, little previews of what's coming, and it looks fantastic. And there's a couple articles I wanted to go through with both of you today, because both of them are, I think, insightful, and we might be able to argue about it a little bit if we're lucky. So
Argue.
Oh, the new season of Yellowstone. Let's talk about it. That's the guy, right? From
We
Yellowstone.
need Rob to do the voice of Filoni for this.
Yeah, where's Rob? Yeah, we got to get him to read Dave's lines, because
Cool,
there's some great lines in here that I think Dave may be taking just a little bit of liberty with, and so he's talking about things don't come to a perfect ending, and we'll get to that quote in just a second. This is first part's just an introduction, and talk about the continuous storytelling that is in the Clone Wars and Rebels, which grew around events, blah blah blah, right? And they talking to Dave, and here we go. He says, "There's a big question at the end of season 2 of Mando, of what will Mando do next? Is the relationship over? In life, things don't always come to a perfect ending." And then he says, "I think things can continue on, and your adventure continues every day. I used to think about it with Clone Wars all the time. When is the battle over? When's the struggle over? Because it culminates in Revenge of the Sith. But that can't be the ending of the show, even though that's the ending of the era. That took a while to figure out." He says, "I think that in some ways, you want each season to have a feeling of an ending. But in a lot of what I've done, I don't like hard endings." Now, this is, I think, a truism has never been more said. Like, because a lot of people complain about Dave not letting Ahsoka die, right? That this
I
hard
think this is
ending.
where we disagree. I disagree with this. I think Dave Filoni just stretching out all of these characters for so long is kind of a detriment. I kind of see where he's going with it, and you don't have to kill characters off for the sake of it. But if your aim is just to never have an ending, the story loses value.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
Think of Anakin's death in Return of the Jedi. If that was made by Disney, they would somehow find a way for him not to die.
I agree with you. I'm saying that Dave, this is absolutely true, that he doesn't like hard endings, and we can see it in his writing, because these characters continue on, and I think it's a very strong argument to why Omega's not going to die. I know there's some folks in our community who think that she is going to die. I don't think there's any chance in the world, and this is one of the reasons that Dave doesn't like hard endings. Leave the possibility, leave the hope for the continued story open.
Well, he doesn't actually get the opportunity to do hard endings because he's doing serialized content all the time, every time. Filoni hasn't made a movie, which is the only way he would actually possibly get that, unless he had a series that ended, and his shows have never really got to end. Like Clone Wars didn't really get an ending. It just kind of got like squashed, and then they had to move on. And then when it came to Rebels, it was sort of like was told to stop. and then it once again it wasn't canceled, but it didn't really get to. And then so they were able to leave that ending open for the live action stuff that was coming.
Right.
And so I agree with you guys, but I also think that like that's an easy thing to say when it's literally like out of your hands. It's not in his hands to actually end any of this stuff yet. And it probably never will be, honestly, unless he does film.
Well, and with the sequel trilogy, you hear Ahsoka talking to Rey at the one point and says, well, there you go, proof that Ahsoka's dead. And then Filoni comes out and kind of puts out like, no, maybe she's not. Don't jump to conclusions. So there's more proof of that. He doesn't like that hard ending. Like if she's dead at Rise of Skywalker, then he has to write in that somewhere, and that ending for her would be that hard ending. But I think even
you know
that's
what, though?
Go ahead.
He tried to kill Omega, wasn't me. Tried to kill Ahsoka, wasn't me.
True. Absolutely.
I mean, he did kill Ahsoka once. He just brought her back to life 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Mortis arc. No,
So-
the Rebels. In
Yeah.
Rebels.
Yeah.
Well, Mortis, she
Or
dies.
twice.
She dies in Mortis, and then the sister gives Ahsoka life back. Right? Gives her life to Ahsoka.
You have owl power, she said. And now she has owl power.
So to speak. This is the part I think that Filoni's criticized on a lot. He says, I like reading books in a series and thinking, oh, there's another book. It's going to keep going. It's always sad for me when an adventure ends and characters seemingly done with the journey. I think there's always a little bit of that hope that something can continue. And I think that he gets a lot of criticism because he doesn't stick to what the books say. There's a lot of, and they talk about the continuous storytelling. What did it say up here? It says,
Well, that was it originally when Filoni took the job and started on Clone Wars. The first criticism was, you keep erasing the expanded universe. Why do you keep erasing the expanded universe for both Clone Wars and then Mandalore? And then the other criticism that was the other prominent criticism was he kept killing all of his new characters. He would introduce in the first couple seasons of Clone Wars, they introduce a new character and kill that person in the same episode. And he ends up promising about season 3, we're going to stop killing all of our characters that we introduce. I promise. Characters will start to matter. And then so now they're saying the opposite, because now he's not killing them after several seasons.
This is the part I thought. Characters move seamlessly. Seamlessly is the word that I'm critical of between them in an ever-growing timeline, between the different mediums, right? It's saying the canonical novels, comics, video games create an expansive canon with threads that tie various mediums together with characters that move seamlessly between them in one ever-growing timeline. Bad Batch Season 1 kicked off with a thing that people said, wait a second, that's not how it happened in the comics. When you see some of Ahsoka's story making its way into The Mandalorian or other content. Like, wait a second, that's not how that happened in the novel.
Or in Tales of the Jedi, right?
Tales of the Jedi.
Differences between the E.K. Johnston book. Yeah.
Exactly. And when they put in here that they move seamlessly between the different medium, I depends what your definition of seamlessly is then, because they're certainly not.
Even without the canonical inconsistencies, I don't think it's very seamless. But like you look at Ochi, for instance, though, in episode 9 in the novel and the comic book, I feel like it's almost 3 different things going on there. So but I guess it depends on you maybe. But yeah.
Meg, didn't you do a little bit of a criticism of Ochi in one of the comics?
I did. Yeah, I did. I quite enjoyed him. Was in
He's
Wars
nuts.
Meg Hunters.
Yeah, like, but he couldn't die, right? Like, he fell off a cliff or something like that, right? Am I confused?
Well, Bosk had all 4 limbs removed and he still survived.
That's fair. That he's like a salamander, right?
That is
Like a
true.
salamander.
You could just, yeah. By the way, you know that really cute little blue guy from Young Jedi Adventures?
Yes.
He's
guy
got a
from-
species now.
Oh, okay. Monsters Incorporated guy. Little Monsters Incorporated.
Yeah,
there?
exactly. The one who looks like a blue Ewok. He's a
Mhm.
pooba.
A Pooba.
That's a new
Pooba.
species.
What was that from?
Pooba.
Pooba.
Yeah, there's a thing where they
That's the droid who helped Padme give birth. The midwife.
no
droid.
no.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
Uba. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking
That is
of.
it.
That's what I was
That
thinking
is
of.
it. Yeah.
Ooh, but it's Uba, right, or something. But, yeah.
Yeah, during birth it keeps saying that to calm Padme down.
Yeah. She's like, "Why are you doing this? You're killing me with this weird stuff."
Do you know why Padme lost the will to live, but George Lucas kind of got rid of it?
Why?
They played Mbop by Hanson
Oh man.
when she was giving birth, and she was like, "Oh no, I've lost the will to live. Screw this."
So this interview with Filoni, I just thought it was kind of interesting. Some of the things they said in here versus what we see as the fans. This one here being the seamless integration between the different mediums, and then him saying that he doesn't like hard endings. He likes it to be able to stay open ended and continue further. There's another question I want to ask you guys here, and I do it because Lacey is it Gillerin from Resistance broadcast? Yeah, they did a show and they were talking about romance in Star Wars, and I was joking, like, here we got Mama and Daddy, right? There's a great picture of them like walking on a beach with Grogu. Could we see a romance between Din and Bo-Katan? And people are
I don't like
well,
it. I think it's going to happen. They keep putting them together with Grogu in the middle.
They do. It looks like mommy, daddy, and the little baby.
I think that's just how Disney likes to sell stuff to suckers.
Well, Lacey was making the point where since they don't do romance hardly at all, it leaves fans to come up with their own theories. And sometimes those theories get kind of crazy. But I looked it up because somebody was saying, that's really weird because Bo is so much older than Din. And I was like, well, how old are they? Din is 40-ish, 38 to 40. Bo would be
75. No,
50-ish.
She's 48. I talked about this in a video. She was 19 in the Clone Wars season 4. So that makes her 48 or 49 by the time of Mando.
Yeah, so there's roughly a 10-year difference in them. Say roughly 40, roughly 50, 38, 48, whatever. So they're in that ballpark.
That means she had Grogu when she was what, -4?
No, they adopt the little baby
I know, I'm kidding.
and raise them together in the tradition of a Mandalorian. And
Yeah,
that
but I
comes-
mean, she takes her helmet off. He doesn't. It's never going to work, man. Come on, think about it.
isn't that how
Again,
things?
I can't say what I want to say because I want to be respectful to Santa's stream.
I
And
don't.
that might take a bit too far.
She needs
I have to say-
foreplay. He can't even kiss. Come
This is
on.
always the thing, like different religions.
I was going to go a bit further than kiss, Jesus.
It's Santa's
You get-
stream. I'm taking it down.
Look, can Catholics and Jewish people get married? Sure, they do. And how do they work that out? Right? Like it's the same thing.
But they can kiss. They can still kiss Santa. I mean, come on.
There's so I'm just wondering if they, because I have seen a couple of images that appears to be like mom, dad, baby, and that could be a thing.
She's like, you never kiss me, and he's just like,
I wasn't expecting that. Nor was I
no,
ready
me
for
neither.
it.
There's another.
By the way, someone in the
article.
chat said they don't have chemistry, but bear in mind Cyril Khan and Dedra are set up to be a romantic interest, and they have the opposite of chemistry.
Opposite.
Yeah, but to be fair, they're both very vacant people, so they're a good match.
Well, I want to raise the possibility as well. Din's got the dark saber. Bo's going to have the mythosaur armor. You end up with a king and queen, right? The co-rulers of Mandalore, with the baby, the new prince.
Sheev is spot on, by the way. Shipping Bo-Katan and Ahsoka, although I call it Ahsoka-tan, because of that butt slap in the Clone Wars, as inappropriate as it was.
I'm
They're
staying
both
away from
adults
that.
now. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. There's another article that came out today, and I've been arguing on Meg's Discord a little bit about it, and so much so that our friend Mark made another image, and we'll show that in a second. But Jon Favreau reveals why the Mandalorian Grogu had to reunite in the Book of Boba Fett. Again, we couldn't just hit a hard reset. This word "hard" keeps showing up again.
They get hard on each other. That's just what they do.
A hard reset. I know. Have you seen the pictures of them together? Any
Hard
Yeah.
dudes. Got
You think
cowboy
that's a
hats on.
lightsaber shadow? You think it's a lightsaber shadow against the set of Navarro?
Mhm.
So
Just John and Dave spewing ideas back and forth.
they asked the question here that fans have been bringing up. It says, while the upcoming season restores the show's original dynamic, it was important that Grogu's time with Luke wasn't for nothing. Just ultimately wasn't his path. So they're saying, why? Where is it? I got to go back up. I guess I skipped over.
You know,
too
there's a
much.
reality to the answer to this that they'll never admit. It probably went something like, well, you know, we got this Boba Fett show coming up, and we got Boba, and you know, he's not been around on the screen for many years, but we've got this other character, Grogu, who makes a ton of money for us in merch. Just throw him in. Throw him in.
That's not how it went.
Fine.
That's not how it went. That's what somebody on your Discord was saying. I'm saying, no, you're wrong. And we'll cover it just a little bit here, because they say at the end of Mando season 2, fans were left with questions. Din had just handed baby Grogu to Luke, and what's it mean for the show? Was that the end of Grogu's story? Would the rest of the Mando follow another narrative? But it would totally reboot, right? All these kind of questions. But we learned that Grogu and Mando come back together, right? It says we checked in with Grogu and Mando in the Book of Boba Fett.
Mandude.
And
Man,
ultimately got to witness their reunion after Grogu chose to forego Jedi destiny. And so they bring that up. And John answers it. And he gives a really good description. And I saw it first because Matt Risman posted it in Discourse. He copied it and put it in so we could read it. And Favreau explains it, right? Just because this kid has potential and had training, does he belong away from Mandalorian? I saw it more like
Paper Moon.
Paper Moon.
Look at you guys.
Paper Moon. Look, I've been preaching this now for like 2 years. Paper Moon. There was an article back before season 1 of Mando released about how Jon Favreau used Paper Moon as inspiration for the story. It's a thing. And here he goes back and says, I saw it like Paper Moon, where the whole thing is about delivering the kid to the blood relative, only to realize whether genetically through her father or just through bonding, right, they have to end up together. That ending feels really good to me. This little kid is given a decision, and the kid chooses the emotional relationship and wants to be with the Mando, and passing up Yoda's lightsaber. Part of you wants to see him develop that way, and part the other. He said it before season 1. He's saying it after season 2, before season 3. He saw it as Paper Moon. He's retelling Paper Moon in that story. The child doesn't stay with its blood relative like for a hot minute. It's like the same day the child leaves and goes back to the parent.
They missed the biggest opportunity. If they didn't kill Yaddle in Tales of the Jedi, there could have actually been a Grogu blood relative, and that would have been very emotional. But instead, they did the deep fake Luke. And you know what interests me is when R2 meets Grogu in Mando season 2.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Grogu didn't get out a stick. Sorry, I'm surprised R2D2 didn't get out a stick and start going mine, and then being like, "Oh shit, you're the wrong person."
Oh, wrong character. No, and KG saying no, Disney was just scared to have them separate. That's not the case.
Well, also,
I agree with
keeping in
KG.
mind too that if they were doing the opposite of the paper, they were doing that Paper Moon story the opposite way with Leia and Kenobi as well. She doesn't stay with Kenobi; she goes back.
Oh,
to
right,
Dad.
right. But when John says at the very beginning that it's inspired by Paper Moon, and he's saying now he always saw it as Paper Moon. Why are people having such a hard time believing that what he says is indeed the fact that
Organizational structure of which it was released? It was in the sense that it like Paper Moon itself is a film, so we have about 2 hours to deal with this whole thing. This is a series, but if we were to slice this pie up and convert it into a film, there's not enough time for the departure. There was, in it being a series, there was time to explore that aloneness and the separateness of those two things. I wouldn't mind if we had more with Grogu and Luke, and then Grogu exploring more about, you know what, I don't want to be a Jedi. I don't want to go back. Like there was the opportunity to explore that further. We didn't necessarily need it, but I think you could make an argument for both sides of the structure that they went with, right? In the sense that we could have had, and then there's some people who will say, well, it should have happened in The Mandalorian season 3, episode 0.
So, plot summary of Paper Moon: a traveling salesman, a grifter kind of guy.
Wait, is he like Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired all the time? Is that what he does?
No, he's trying to sell Bibles to grieving widows and widowers.
They're fancy Bibles, like with like your name embossed,
with their name embossed on them, right? And he's got an embossing machine in his car. He goes and puts their name on it, takes it and sells it to them for like double the markup, right? So he's got these generic Bibles. He embosses the name on it, takes and delivers them. Well, along his route, he has relations with several different women here and there, right? When you're cold at night, you need somebody to snuggle up to. He had a different lady in each port, so to speak, that he could, warm up with. And one of these ladies had a little kid. She had a little kid, and she dies, and the little kid is orphaned. He happens to come along about the time of the funeral, and they're like, hey, this little kid, she's got an aunt over in St. Louis. I think you ought to take her there and take her to her aunt. And there's a little innuendo, like, is the kid really his kid? Or is it somebody else's kid? We don't know, but it's an orphan. Along the way to St. Louis, he's stopping in every town, scamming people with these Bibles. And the girl, the orphan, kind of bonds with him. Eventually, they get to St. Louis. He says, all right, kid, here's your aunt. She goes to her aunt's house. Her aunt has a room prepared for her. It's all like perfect for her. She's got a great house. She's got a great family. Dinner's ready. Perfect ending. He drives off. Well, she kind of looks around. She's like, nope, not for me. She runs away and rejoins him. Like, she doesn't stay even a day. She doesn't spend a night.
She likes the road life.
She just gets right back out and picks back up with him. She doesn't go to her kind.
Also worth noting, his car craps out at the end, just like Mando's.
It does.
His crest gets destroyed.
So the originality of the Mandalorian just goes right out the window.
Exactly.
I swear you just referenced like 3 different stories that sound familiar. Like that's basically part of the story of Les Mis, with John Valjean and
Curly Sue.
Right.
Let's just call it Curly Sue the whole time.
Yeah, Curly Sue. Curly Sue's a remake of it. And essentially what Jon Favreau did is he retold the story for another generation. That's fine. Look, Paper Moon is a black and white movie from the 70s. Curly Sue from the 80s, right? 80s, I think 80s, or around 90. 88, 90, something like that.
Reed
Curly
Truby. Reed Truby. He lays out exactly story structure on all blockbuster films throughout the years.
And it's
And
been
there's
like,
absolutely no original story left to tell.
it
They've all
makes
been
like
done.
30 years since Curly Sue,
Yeah.
which has been a long
And
time.
Curly Sue bombed. It wasn't a big movie, really. I don't believe.
Exactly. And so Mandalorian follows the exact same story structure. Is it lazy writing? People are like, oh, that's lazy writing. If you're just going to use the same story, got to be
No,
angry.
it's not. That's not lazy writing at all. It's not actually. I don't think it's actually that easy to go and then to take Paper Moon and turn it into Star Wars. I think that's actually like a pretty structurally, yeah, but in terms of how it actually unfolds, I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah, and stories do get rehashed all the times, right? And so
No, there is absolutely no original story. No one in this room has seen an original story unless it was by David Lynch. David Lynch is the only one, and it's barely comprehensible. You know what I mean? It's true.
hey, we got a super chat from Sheev. Din was never explained why Grogu came back to him, Book of Boba Fett. Could Mando season 3 start with Din taking Grogu to Luke to say, what?
I
No.
think he's a grown adult. He worked it out. Like, I feel like they don't need to explain that. It's like, who cares? He's
Yeah.
with his son.
No, and
Knowing the way the
and-
show is written, we often like to think there's like deeper explanations to things. And okay, so I was talking to Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, and he brought up a fantastic point in my interview with him. He said, and you guys have seen it,
Mhm.
they have such a finite amount of time in 8 episodes a season. They're going to move the story on as quickly as possible to get to where they need to by the end of that season. Does that mean it's all going to be rushed? No. Does that mean they're going to focus on the bits that matter? Yes. I don't think being explained why Grogu left Luke is important whatsoever to the story of season 3.
real
No,
quick,
it's
Saber
very
Smith,
obvious that they love each other, and that's why. And when you watch
This-
Book of Boba, it's clear. I think.
Paper Moon's on Pluto TV for free, but you got to watch commercials. So it's Pluto TV. You can watch it.
It's a great
stream it.
movie. It's definitely like a 4-star movie. It's totally worth watching.
It's got
Never
some.
seen it.
It's got some folks in it you'll recognize too. What Catherine Hahn, is that her name?
Seems so.
I think so.
I
you'll
don't
see
know.
her.
I don't know if anybody in the chat's going to recognize Catherine Hahn, but fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm old. Like I'm even older than Meg. You know, Meg talked about how old she was.
Yeah,
She's
Grand Meg.
practically ancient.
Grand
I
Meg.
know. I know. She's
Grand Meg.
practically ancient already, and I'm way older than her. So, so yeah, Paper Moon was always the plan. That was always going to happen. And if you know the outline, and I kept saying during season 2, there was this question at the end of season 2. Is he going to take the saber? Is he going to take the chainmail? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? I said, well, duh. He's taking the chainmail. He's going back to Din. It was predetermined.
It's been suggested to me too that the team who operates Grogu and puts the Grogu show on, so to speak.
Yeah.
If they didn't put Grogu in Book of Boba Fett, it would be years before they were reassembled. That's a pretty easy way to lose your team. And that was suggested to me. I don't know if that's really a reason, but somebody who works on it said, I bet you that's why we did it.
Madeline Kahn.
And you know,
Kahn.
Jason, there is actually proof to what you're saying. Do you remember that early report about Bryce Dallas Howard working with the Grogu puppet? And it was around the time the Book of Boba Fett was being filmed, and she was talking about her experience, and people were like, okay, so if, you know, people put 2 and 2 together, that if the Grogu puppet is there on set, he's going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. That's how it all started, the rumors of Grogu being back. So that makes sense to what you're saying, keeping that team assembled.
Yeah. And I think that they're going to do a recap of both season 1 and season 2 on this with Book of Boba Fett. So people keep going like, how are we going to know if we didn't watch it? Well, there's a lot of little plot threads that if you watch the seasons as they came out, you never rewatch because you're like a normal person, not like a rabid Star Wars fan. You are going to need to be reminded about what happened 3-4 years ago. So I think they're going to do a recap of the main story bits and what's going on with Bo-Katan and stuff like that. Because even if you watch season 2, and you were just paying attention to the Paper Moon story, some of the Bo-Katan subtleties might be missing for you.
Yes. Now, the one part that was missing, and it was Madeline Kahn. Madeline Kahn was one of his little side conquests along the way.
Yeah.
Din doesn't have a side conquest that he meets along the way, unless that's Bo. I don't know. See.
Yeah.
I'm trolling myself.
I was wondering if the lady in the Bryce Dallas Howard episode was like set up to be like something to go back to potentially, but probably not.
Yeah. So this interview goes on, and from his travels with Din Djarin, it's time his time training with Luke in future adventures of season 3 and beyond. So is Grogu going to die? No. It's all a case of building up a character in Grogu, unlike any other in the Star Wars galaxy. You have this interesting. So this is, again, I think maybe we can take a little argument with him, and I'm sure some folks who like to do the anger videos will do this. Just heads up, here it comes. Says you have this interesting character who has Jedi training to some extent, Force abilities, but also joining the Mandalorian culture, which we've established is something that you can opt into. It demands a lot. It offers a lot. Historically, Mandalorians developed all these tools and armor and weapons to be able to counteract Force abilities of Jedi. So as a storyteller, this offers a tremendous opportunity. Now we can see Grogu and his tiny Beskar chainmail, please. That's the author. So
he's gonna betray the Jedi. He's gonna teach the Mandalorians. He's like, I'll do the Force powers, and you guys can learn how to deflect it. That traitor.
If we put these two things together, right? Mandalorians have this whole anti-Jedi thing, and we're gonna do a character that's never been done in Star Wars before. Wait a minute. Wasn't Vizsla? Wasn't he the first, like, he created the Darksaber? He had all that because he...
Wait, pre-Vizsla or like some other
Vizsla?
Tar Vizsla. Tar Vizsla.
Tar Vizsla. Yeah, the one who created the Darksaber. He was a Force user, and he was a Mandalorian. So we have had that character before. It's not like any other character we've ever had.
Oh,
we
Terry.
Had Tar Vizsla.
Terry Vizsla. Terry. Hi, I'm Terry Vizsla. I got the Force.
He was actually he was British. Tar Vizsla.
This is it has been done before. And this one I mean about the anger videos, right? They'll be like, he doesn't know his lore. Cancel John Favreau. He doesn't know who Tar Vizsla is. There's a gate, and I'm keeping it, and John Favreau's not. You shall not pass, because he doesn't know about Tar. That's where.
Well, what's happened, Sanders? What you have to understand is that Kathleen Kennedy defeated John Favreau, and now he has gone completely woke. And now he is broke.
I can't stand those people. Or the fake sources. Like the latest one is the Rey and the Grogu thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious.
Made up stuff. No, it's just that there is a little bone to be picked. That Tar Vizsla was that, right? He was Mandalorian and Jedi. If you're saying that Grogu gets to be something brand new, a Jedi and a Mando, that's not true, right? Not technically true, right?
And they also kind of set up, though, that they won't do it immediately, if ever, but they did set up the idea that his powers would fade if he doesn't train with Luke. Like that, they did kind of set that up as a thing to explain him maybe in a decade or two why he's not a Jedi, why he doesn't have the Force powers if he stays on Mandalore and doesn't become this uber character that can't be stopped. That's just like, well, why don't they just send in Grogu? He's the Mandalorian Jedi. He can do anything. So I think that was sort of like a fail-safe to sort of hamper that down a little bit, probably too.
Yeah. I want to show a couple other things. The first one is to do a little bit of a spoiler for Meg's interview. And I say it's a spoiler because I think a lot of people could figure this out anyway. Yes, I showed the picture, Mark. I did. I did show it. There's this part of the trailer. I'm going to show this, and you guys will get echo. But let's let this play because there's a little quote here from Carson that he addresses in the interview with Meg that is just a little teaser spoiler. Just a teaser spoiler, not a spoiler of the whole thing. Just a little teeny tiny teaser. And I think most people know this stuff anyway. So it's right here. And this should have audio for all of you all.
Happening out there. And by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late.
Ooh, there it is. Carson's telling Din there's something out there. By the time you figure it out, it'll be too late. Spoiler warning, he's not talking to Din.
Indeed.
That's a special kind of trailer magic where they clip things and try to deceive you. Deception, lies.
But who is he talking to?
But who?
You can join
Who
my
could it be?
Patreon and find out.
There you go. See how you do it? You guys, perfect. We executed that brilliantly. Join Meg's Patreon and you can find out who he may have been talking to. It wasn't Din. We lost. We lost Jason. He's up to shenanigans. I'm guaranteeing it. When he comes back, shenanigans. So aggressively. I hope one day Meg's avatar gets to where she's going.
My avatar's been humping for years. And it's Valentine's Day, so it's fine.
I think you're just exercising on one of those big balls that you can sit on, and it keeps you from like sitting in a chair. It helps your core strength.
I've heard jumping on balls really does help. So.
Oh my goodness. So who could it be? Join Meg's Patreon. You can watch the entire video there and find out. It's an absolutely brilliant interview. It's absolutely worth every minute of it. And Baymax has given us the link to your Patreon right there. Hey, Jason's back.
I had a Forrest Gump moment.
Oh, okay. Run, Jason, run. So there you go. Anything else you want to tease for your interview, Meg, before we go to the other trailer?
So we talked about Snoke potentially appearing. I asked him about Snoke. Some very juicy stuff there. Asked him about Rangers of the New Republic. And obviously, as you can imagine, some of the people who eavesdrop on this stream, on our streams here, are going to be a bit triggered by a certain Cara Dune. But it's good. It was a great interview. He was a great guy. And it's nice to get some normalcy. He's such a normal person. We deal with so many people in the fandom online who are very intense. He's very chill.
Well, he's Canadian, so, they have a reputation to uphold. You know the Canadian reputation, don't you, Meg?
I've heard things. I know American reputations. Probably not as good as you might think.
It's sort of the opposite. Like Canadians, when they get mad at you, then they just don't compliment you as hard.
Traitor! Sorry.
No, when Canadians are mad at you, they'll just be like, okay, bye. Instead of, get out of here. It's just, okay, bye. And normal.
Okay, hoser. And then they just leave.
Yeah, normally a Canadian would be all like, warm and fuzzy, friendly. Super. There's a great video online where there's like a bear in the backyard. You're like, hey, Mr. Bear, could you go somewhere else, please? It would be great if you wouldn't be here in my yard. Like that kind of. That's stereotypical.
Jason isn't actually American. He's actually Bespin Bulletin in disguise.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Oh, hey, matey. I'm a pirate.
So there's another trailer that is out, and it's a teaser here. And I'm going to let this one play again. So again, there'll be echo, but I want you guys to hear something. I want you to listen.
Yep.
Okay, here it comes.
I heard you were back.
I'm going to Mandalore.
May the Force be with you!
You ready for an adventure? A Mandalorian has to know their way around. That way, you'll never be lost.
The Mandalorian,
All right.
No,
so there it
Grogu's
is.
not talking.
He's saying hello.
When you
No
did
way.
that, I was hearing him sing "Smells Like Teen Spirit." He was like, "Hello,
He says-
hello, hello, hello."
He's saying hello.
No,
Totally.
he's not. He's
100
just making a baby noise.
No,
And
he's
he
saying
says
hello.
yep. He says "yep" in the celebration one. I
Exactly.
think.
He doesn't say yep. He's just making baby noises.
He's talking, Meg. He said, "Hello."
Are you serious? I can't.
I am
hear it.
serious. He's saying hello. It's clearly
He's just
hello.
he's cooing. Well, okay, then why isn't it in the subtitles? Why isn't it when you turn on subtitles?
Spoilers, Meg. Spoilers. No, he's talking.
But they did it with
He's-
everyone else.
I think he says hello. Yep.
You
hello.
speciesist.
And you know what's funny? Someone said he's 50. He still speaks better English than most 50-year-olds in this country.
Are you throwing shade at me? Huh? I'm 55.
But you're not in this country.
That's true. No.
The reason I know that, okay, so I'm from London, but like I go to a lot of football games, like soccer games, and
Mhm.
you get a mix of people from around the country, and some of it is inaudible, even as someone who speaks the language. Like someone behind me was cheering, yeah, and I was trying to work out which team they support just from that.
Who is Meg interviewing? You were able to interview the actor who plays Carson Teva in The Mandalorian. And he is in season 1 a little bit, season 2 a little bit more. And will he be in more in season 3
He's not in season 1, Santa.
or season 2? Okay, season 2. Oh, and in Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, he's in season 2, Book of Boba Fett, and season 3. Is he going to be in it more or less? Join Big's Patreon to find out. Yeah, that's how you do it.
He's in the trailer of season 3, so it looks like
He is
more.
in the trailer of season 3, and you can find out his response to that too in that fantastic interview.
Space Cop.
Jedi Mike is right, by the way.
What do you
Jedi
say?
Mike.
He's right. I turned around and this big ginger hairy guy without his top on just looks at me.
Giving gingers a hard time. You know, gingers do get a rough way of it. I saw a great
Oh no, I love
commercial.
gingers. I wasn't. It was just that one guy who's just creepy, and then he said something. I had that little voice app which kind of translates.
Was it hello and you didn't know what he said?
No, he was singing Ed Sheeran "In Love with the Shape of You."
Oh, yes. I had the story that Ed Sheeran was in episode 9 and I wasn't familiar, so I like downloaded an Ed Sheeran record and I was like, this is awful. I was not a fan.
And there's a great video with Ed Sheeran in it, or a commercial. It's about him being a ginger. It's funny. But anyhow, we've got other things, other news, and it's I use Bespin Bulletin as the source here. I know he's not the source of the information, but Bespin's our buddy. We like to try to get people to get him some coffee.
Oh, this!
And-
Did you guys see the enormous watermark on this video?
Yes.
Yeah, it was egregious.
Yeah, you're going to put that on your interview, Meg? A giant Star Wars Meg right across Paul's
The whole
face.
thing.
Good. That here we get some. There you go. There's a water. That's not exactly a watermark, though, is it? That's just like text.
That's just obstructing the whole point of looking at the thing, though. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
So we do see they're doing some shoots in London, but they're going back to this McLaren Technology Center. And if people didn't know, here's a picture of that. So McLaren has a big, beautiful campus, right? And this center here, this technology center where they've got their automobiles on display, is this place that we saw in Andor.
Spaceport.
Spaceport. And they're going back to this place, just for folks that didn't know. So that's they have returned to the McLaren Technology Center to shoot some scenes. So we're back at the spaceport again, and they're going to do some in Valencia. And these folks at Unbox took some video. They took some pictures. They took some video, and here is their video. And here we don't need the audio. You guys should not have an echo, but you can see Diego Luna and Skarsgård there. They're just kind of chilling out. They're talking. They're chatting. They're getting ready to do a scene, and then you'll see they're doing their scene. There you go.
It's a close up.
That is.
Luthen's got a short hair, so he's being real Luthen.
Yeah, that dude is
I was
like
going
right
to say
there.
this is Ryan Johnson level directing, where everyone's shot is like 2 inches from their face.
Yes.
Like you see Holdo's nose more than you see her hair in The Last Jedi.
Martin says he's going to be driving past the new studios and Reading. How do you say
Reading.
that, Meg?
Reading. It's Reading.
Reading.
Come on, Reading Festival. Yeah. You know Nirvana played there. You have the bootleg. Come on.
I've seen that on DVD back when. But Reading's quite nice. It's got nice parts and dodgy parts. But I've been to, because I used to know someone who goes to the university there. It's a nice campus.
Yeah. So
That's where they're filming The Acolyte as well.
That's the story that we got some season 2 filming going on in the old U of K right there, right?
How close is Shinfield Studios to Reading? Like, is it literally like the same place, or is it okay? Because I know it's like really close, but I wasn't sure if
I don't know if it's
Shinfield is
technically the
in
same
Reading
place.
or not. Okay, yeah.
I know it's in Berkshire, and I know they used part of the university, so I'm going to say it's the same. But Martin might be able to correct me if I'm wrong.
Hey, Goldie Fawn, like Goldie Hawn, but Goldie Fawn. Oh, hey, Meg, love you and your content. You know who else
Thank
said
you, Goldie.
that? You know who else said that? Paul. Right? And
He did.
he
Interestingly enough about Paul, he followed me before I followed him.
Wow. I'm telling you, it's amazing. The interview is wonderful. And Goldie, thank you so much for the super chat. It's
Thank you, Goldie.
very, very helpful. Thank you very much. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, I have a Patreon. I mentioned it earlier, and I've been going through the Plagueis novel. We just finished part 1, chapter 12 of Plagueis novel. Just finished part 1. We're fully into the Palpatine novel now. The rest of the book, pretty much just Palpatine. The last 2 chapters, we did 10 and 11, or 11 and 12. Palpatine was really the subject of the chapters. Plagueis was still in it. The rest of the book, not so much. It's the Palpatine novel, and here is also where you can do this unlimited super chat thing that I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream. And we have no Patreon questions, so just wanted to highlight that again, just for $1, for one stinking $1, you can join on Patreon and have access to that additional content and be able to submit a question or a topic for us to discuss. As long as it's appropriate, we will bring it into the show. All right. Anything else, you guys? We had a lot to cover. We kind of went through a lot of it quickly. But can you get with Meg to drop the audio tracks on Patreon? Which audio tracks? Jedi Mike, of this show? I don't know.
The ones where Meg freestyle raps,
Where Meg's reading. Bad Batch predictions. Okay. Yes. We have episode 9 predictions up. We talked about it at the very, very beginning of the show. But, your Mando stories, the ones that you're reading. You can join Meg's Patreon and you can get that from Meg's content.
Yeah.
But the Bad Batch predictions, we do have that up. We talked a little bit at the beginning. And I agree with Meg's video from today, her Bad Batch preview, where today is the crossing. Tonight is the crossing, and then next week is like the retrieval. So I think those are 2-parter. And my own opinion on it is it's a Bad Batch centric episode. there's really two ways to look at it. It's going to be Bad Batch centric, or it's going to be Echo and Rex centric. Are we going to follow Rex and Echo, or are we following the Bad Batch? I think it's Bad Batch, and it's a mission of the week kind of thing that'll tie into the larger story. That's my own opinion. But the predictions are posted in the description here. They're on Discord, they're on Patreon, they're on Twitter. So you guys can find the predictions form so that we can do the game in the morning when we're watching the episode and see how wrong Santa is. And you know what?
I see what Jedi Mike is saying. I see what he's saying, because when I drop things on Patreon, I drop the video and I also do a separate audio MP3 file. So I think he's saying you should do an MP3 version of your Patreon video so people can listen to it in the car or things like that.
Okay. Very good. So the Wall of Fame, and I neglected to have the ticker going during the show. We did have a number of people who got their predictions at least as well as mine during episodes 7 and 8. You see Star Wars Politics, Corlo Wren, Sheev the Wise, who's been in our chat during the show, Don Basham and Nerd Mafia. They tied or beat me last week, and then we're adding them up for the whole season.
Wait, where am I? Where am I? What?
No.
What's going on here?
Nope.
This
and Meg's
fake.
a quitter. She
You
quit playing.
have lost.
This party's over.
But Sheev the Wise in first place. Sheev is leading the way. So somehow we got to find out from Sheev what he knows. He's set the bar.
Jason, talking about Mace Windu, if you go back and rewatch the scene where he slices Django's head off, there's like a split-second moment. You can even slow it down with one of the clips of it on YouTube, where he does this kind of like WTF side glance, like, what did I just do? It's quite funny.
It's very good. Carson, Paul, and Meg have a wonderful interview. You can go watch on her Patreon today. And Meg, you're going to be breaking that out into some videos over the coming days.
I will tease them now. So I'm actually going to be away from tomorrow all the way to Friday, but I've got things sort of pre-planned. And whenever I go away, I always bring a backup microphone, which so I can do, like, if something comes out, I'll do it there. But I do have plans to release his experience on set working with Jon Favreau, his comments on Rangers of the New Republic and Cara Dune, and also because he also talks about season 3 addressing what happened to Cara Dune, and also Snoke. Are we going to see Snoke? Those are the big clips I think people will want to hear about.
Very good. It's very good.
Cool.
You guys, I trust me, it's worth membership to be in Meg's Discord or Patreon. It's absolutely worth it. It's the video should blow up. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for hanging out today. We'll hang out just a little bit more after the show ends. But then Meg, you're going to be out for a couple days. Will you be able to join us on Friday, or are you still going to be out?
I will be. I'll get home at about 3 or 4 p.m. and then should be able to join you guys for the Friday stream. If not, I'll let you know in advance. And worst comes to worst, I'll join you halfway through.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Jason. You doing a show later today
I am.
with this sketchy
at 1 o'clock.
sketchy crafty guy?
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
That's the
All
plan,
right, you guys.
Stan.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. We had a great time talking about a lot of it. So you guys, thank you. Thank you so much. And I was talking earlier today, and Jason said it before, but it needs said over and over and over again. Meg is a superstar. I can't believe I get to be
rock star.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're good friends. And our other friend, he's actually a bit of a rock star himself. He may not say it, but it's true. In our DMs, right? He's a bit of a rock star himself. So that they hang out with just me and Jason, pretty amazing. pretty amazing. All right, you guys, take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Until then, my friends, Merry
everybody.
Christmas. May the force be with you always. Bye-bye.